that's why I said it was going to be not guilties other than the Mann Act. And that's what they proved. He's a John. That's what they proved. Do I think that he's a great guy? That they proved that he's not a perfect guy? Yeah, I think they proved that he's not a perfect guy. I think they proved domestic violence. This was a state case from the beginning. I said that from the beginning. I said that from day one. This is a state case. It should not be in the feds. But, of course, the Southern District of New York picked it up when it was a different U.S. attorney that was in charge. And I think if this happened again, this U.S. attorney wouldn't even have taken this case. I don't predict that Comey will last long at the U.S. Attorney's Office in the Southern District of New York, but he is entitled to bond. I think that he should get a bond. It is under the judge's discretion of whether or not to grant the bond, but $1 million and a electronic monitor should suffice for him to show up at the sentencing. Let's talk Diddy bond.
That's my man right there. I agree.
As much now. There were so many people here, I'm going to guess around 200, it could have been growing, that the crowd was kind of falling into the streets. I went across the street and kind of wanted to see what the vibe was over there. Again, very tense. And New York police officers were there saying, get back, because this is an active street, by the way. You've seen the sirens and heard the horns. Like, people are driving up and down this road, and it's unsafe to be walking in the middle of the street. So just probably 5 minutes ago, an NYPD giant van with barricades came, and they were going and putting them farther across the courthouse there so that people can't spill out over into the road for their safety, and also, honestly, possibly because the crowd has gotten so wily and so rowdy, and we just don't know what's going to happen. So there is a pretty decent-sized police presence here, too.
We have reporting from NBC to couple this that say men outside the courtroom screaming over their opposing views on Combs' verdict, as Sierra was saying. Apparently, there is one man who's been reported to be wearing a denim jacket, sunglasses, questioning another man in a red shirt and a bucket hat over whether Combs is going to prison. The man in the denim had yelled, he beat her. The other man said it doesn't matter. The other man says he beat her, he kicked her. The other one says, and she liked it. How about that? This is a verdict, Sierra, because essentially, let's be entirely clear. The jury was not convinced that Cassie or Jane were victims of sex trafficking, that Sean Combs did not use force, fraud, or coercion to induce them into commercial sex acts. They believe that they were transported across state lines for the purposes of prostitution. That is a very different legal conclusion than sex trafficking. And you wonder, you respect the jury's verdict, you understand the jury's verdict. I have no reason to question the jury's verdict. This seemed to be a very methodical jury, took their position, their role very seriously. But you can see how people are now going to interpret this in different ways.
Oh, yeah, and that description that you just made, the man who was wearing the red bucket hat and then the denim jacket, that was literally right behind me. Where the camera is, right behind the camera is where that was happening. And it was tense, and you do see this, Jesse. I mean, it's opposing views. Some people who say that they are advocates for people who are sexual assault survivors, who are saying one thing, and other people who are saying they are advocates for P. Diddy, he's wrongly accused, saying another thing. So there's a lot happening.
Yeah. Tyler, I want to go to you real quick. We got a super chat question that came in. Keanu Roper, I'm so sorry. Pronunciation's not my strong suit. But thank you for the super chat question. Have a civil suit. Could he sue the government? Misconduct for Breonna Bagolin's perjured testimony, overcharging with RICO, because RICO seems like a clear overcharge. Can he sue the government now?
He could sue the government. He would likely be unsuccessful in suing the government. I think the government had probable cause for the charges that they accused.
Yeah, suing the government is just stupid because the things that they need to file to carry out charges against you, it's voted on by other people. It's voted on by a grand jury. It's not the government. Now, you would have to challenge the entire system of how people get indictments, which will never happen.
Accused Mr. Combs of committing, but they were not able to prove some of those charges beyond a reasonable doubt. Generally, there could be, malicious prosecution or a false arrest or false imprisonment case when somebody is arrested without probable cause. But here, based off the evidence that we've seen over 7 weeks of trial, there was clearly enough probable cause for the arrest. but the jury felt differently, that he was not guilty of mainly the RICO charge and along with the sex trafficking charges.
Okay, so here at almost noon, we are getting a report that Sean Combs' family is entering that courthouse once again. This day is not over. We are going to see whether or not Sean Combs will be released. Will we see him on the outside? Will he walk out of that federal courthouse? It's going to be up to the judge. Both sides are petitioning.
On the same day, they advised the prosecutors that he would surrender his passport.
Around and Cassie lived with.
I'd have had a very different testimony if I didn't have that break time to just kind of get myself together, because it was overwhelming.
Let me, Sheree, stand by. We have more questions coming in, but I want to bring on the other panelists as well. Ben, we haven't had a chance to talk about the verdict. This is something you predicted, though.
Well, I don't know. I went back and forth, but it was, I have to confess, it was a bit of a surprise to me.
Was it something about Cassie's testimony? Was it something about Jane's testimony with respect to sex trafficking? Again, the jury did not believe the prosecution proved beyond a reasonable doubt that they were victims of sex trafficking. What was it? What was the thing that you might have been a hang-up?
I thought it was some of the communications, the text messages were rather than coercion, that this is, I think it came across as a very, very complicated, unusual relationship, but a relationship.
Yeah.
Toxic relationship.
We got super chat questions coming in for you, Ben. So this is from Nancy Nicole. Actually, this is a regular question. Then we'll go to, actually, let me start with a super chat question. Super chat question from JAM. Thank you so much. Ben, can law address the need for cognitive consent that has often comprised sex crimes when, I'm not sure what this means, when something's normalized? But yeah, can the law address the need for cognitive consent that is often compromised in sex crimes? I'm not exactly sure the question, but I throw it to you.
No, it's a very good question. And I don't think really this is something that the law can really define. And that's why I think the jury system is really the best way of obtaining the truth when you're talking about complex human emotions. It's really hard to have bright lines in the law. I think it's something that a jury has to consider. And I think this really is the best way to adjudicate these things.
Tyler, Nikki Vale says, do you think if Christina Coram, this is a super chat question, thank you so much. Do you think if Christina Coram testified, the jury would have reached a different verdict?
I think that if she testified as a part of conspiracy, it may have helped the jury get to a conclusion more likely to convict on count number one. But I think as a whole that this jury probably wrestled with the fact that they did not believe this was a conspiracy, a one-man conspiracy with Mr. Combs at the top, and there being no co-conspirators. And then all of the acts and furtherance of this conspiracy led to prostitution, sex trafficking with the two victims. I think they really wrestled and not feel like it was enough. But with KK testifying, possibly it could have helped the prosecution out a little more in convincing the jury.
Ben, got a super chat question from Christina Lester. She writes, I have to know this. Please ask Ben. Is he related to Benjamin Chew, prominent Pennsylvania lawyer and jurist and a close friend of George Washington, 1722 to 1810? The people must know.
You have a wonderful viewership and someone who is very keen on history. Yes, that is my ancestor, who was the last Crown appointed Chief Judge of Pennsylvania. And anybody who is a history buff like your viewer can go see the museum that's in Germantown called Cliveden. And that was Benjamin Chew's house, and it was the site of the Battle of Germantown.
That is awesome. That is amazing. And
All right, we got a pundit by the tap in.
Man, you a cold nigga, man.
Yo, I ain't gonna lie. I'm in the middle of planning the next freak off. I ain't gonna lie, Wack. I gotta keep it a bean. Freak off's illegal now. I'm good.
You a cold nigga, man. Listen, man. I just want to make sure, because you disappeared on me last week. You know you had me looking crazy.
Oh! Oh
Yeah,
shit.
you disappeared, bro.
No, I was on the
Come
trial though. I was on the trial. You know this
No,
trial
nigga,
shit been like taxing me. I'm so glad. I'm glad it's over, but it's like a
listen,
series.
listen. And this me to you, right? Whenever you call me and it's something that my hand is strong on, and I'm like, it's green, act, you my brother. I'm never gonna disappear on you. Like, that was my financial manager's client, bro. That's
Yeah, no.
nigga, that's my finance. Listen, that's the nigga that do all my home loans, all my cars, all my shit. His client. I was like, yo, I said, man, maybe he got sick, bro. I can't.
Whack. This trial been put. Let me tell you this. So I had a vacation I was supposed to go
I
on.
was trying to send a nigga over there 8 at night so I can avoid the trial.
Listen, I was supposed to be on a vacation that started tomorrow. This trial fucked it up so much, I pushed it back because I didn't know there was gonna come to a verdict. Like, and I realized, like, I gave this shit been 8 weeks, and like I've been doing it every day, and like this shit fucked up every
He
day.
gonna get about 3 years. That's what he gonna get.
You said 3 years?
I think they're gonna give him 33 months. Because the good thing about it is it has a roof for 22, but it doesn't have a mandatory minimum. So the judge could do what he wants. If he had a mandatory minimum, he'd be fucked. The judge would be, he had to do the guidelines, right? So,
why do you think they won't give him time served? Even though, by the way, he did go to trial less than a year, so time served would be really nice.
33 months. He'd do another year and be going to the halfway house. Either way it go, Diddy be free in 2026. Worst case. Well, I think 33 months.
Well, here's the thing. So they're not arguing about sentencing today because sentencing isn't today. It's bail. Do you think they let him out on bail until sentencing?
Yep. If they don't plan on sentencing until a couple months, they'll do that. They'll do it in hopes he fuck himself. They'll do it all day long. But it was a gift and a curse because think about it. Diddy, his legal probably cost him about 10, 15 million, right? Think about it. He was willing to give them people $100 million to bail. I believe if Diddy would have bailed, he would have did some dumb shit and fucked his hand off. So the curse was that he had to stay in there. The gift was he kept his $100 million, and the $15 million he had to spend on his legal anyway just came out of that. He's still $85 million up. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah. What do you think about how the verdict came now? The verdict basically said, all y'all chicks that claim y'all got sex traffic, y'all were hoes. Did Diddy pay for some pussy? He paid for some pussy, or he paid for some dick, whatever you want to call it. But he did not do nothing that was doing something against somebody's will.
The beautiful thing Diddy did is he just became case law. So anybody in jail for this shit or goes to jail for this shit because Diddy took it to trial, they can use his trial as case study to appeal a fight. That's the biggest thing he did.
When you first heard about this, did you think that he sex trafficked Cassie, or did you think that Cassie?
No, I know, bro. Listen, I didn't tell you, but bro, listen. Cassie has come to our place afterwards. You get what I'm saying? I know her. I know him. I know the situation. He never sex trafficked Cassie ever in life. That's like me sex trafficking out R&B. What we do is what we do. What they did is what they did. If you get a chick, right, and a man is supposed to mold that woman as that woman is supposed to mold that man into what makes them happy. You get what I'm saying?
Well, you do know if she mad at you later that you still balling and she broke, she gonna say you groomed her, you know, right?
Yeah, but see, this just said you can't do that. See,
no, I agree.
What fucked me up was how the fuck are you sex trafficking and flying your woman around and Cassie lived with this man. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Cassie lived with this man. So if it's like, baby, we finna go to Miami, we going to our other house. Cassie sleeps in the master bedroom.
That's a fact.
You get what I'm saying? So what the fuck is, if I'm in Paris, baby, I miss you. I'm going to send you a flight. You get what I'm saying? So, nevertheless, listen.
They were definitely trying to criminalize flying out. I ain't even going to lie. They were trying.
Yeah, so, and which was crazy because it's really a gesture of being a man. Mm-hmm. If a man want to see a woman, you're supposed to send for her. You're supposed to provide ground, provide food, room, board. You're supposed to. So, It's a good thing. You know, he did it up under a year. He'd be all right. I think worst he's going to get is 33 months. I believe they're going to let him go. Until sentencing. If I was him, I wouldn't even want to be let go. Fuck that. Let me get mine out the way.
Hey, I talked to 6ix9ine about that. He said the same thing. He said his lawyer should tell him, yo, you already in here. The hardest part is getting used to being back in here.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Just do the months now. Just do it now.
That's what I would do. I wouldn't even let me get this shit out the way. You know, I'll tell you this. I'm going to tell you who's going to win the most out of this.
Who?
Young Miami. Bitch, stay down. You ain't heard a peep out that lady.
That's a fact. You think she going to rejoin the crew?
Who?
Young Miami.
I don't think she never went nowhere.
So you think she gonna be fucking with Diddy again?
I don't think she never stops.
I'm gonna be honest with you. I think Diddy gotta get married. I suggested he get one girlfriend and one boyfriend.
He don't gotta get married. He don't gotta. You can't force.
No, whack. Here's the thing. He got in trouble because he was on some homoerotic shit, some bisexual shit or gay shit. He need to get a boyfriend and a girlfriend. That's it.
You can't get in trouble for being on gay shit. That shit is socially accepted.
No, but he was hiding it. That's why he was hiding the prostitutes. He should just get a girlfriend and a boyfriend and he good.
Hey, listen. Young Miami said, I ain't even see her pop out with another nigga.
Get him a nice boyfriend like YK Osiris or something like that. Get him a good boyfriend.
Oh, you wild.
That's going to be loyal to him. That's going to treat him good. That's going to be able to give him all the semen he need to play with, and he good. He good.
You wild. Okay.
He just need a boyfriend. Who would you suggest for him to be his boyfriend? You could tell he got a type. First of all, his type with women is Asian women. What do you think his type is with niggas?
I don't think about that shit because I don't know what a nigga type would be.
Well, I get that, but we got to be realistic. You realize that Diddy was doing all this to conceal this behavior because he knew that the public wouldn't accept it if he was a mogul free. We only found out about this.
Yeah, but they would have accepted. I just think he didn't want to tarnish his little gangster image.
He been around. You told me Diddy ain't had no gangster image. Diddy been around through the 90s. He had a reputation. He didn't want to come out as one of those because people were gonna call him a homo thug or whatever. Now we all know it's out in the open. He need to find himself a nice boyfriend. Maybe some Meek Mill lookalike. I don't care who he gets. He just gotta get a nigga that.
Man, y'all gotta cut the Meek Mill slander out.
No. I ain't say Meek Mill. I said a lookalike. Like that might be his type.
Yeah, man, listen. I don't think he got to get married to shit. I don't think he's the type of dude that needs to be married. I think he needs his space. I think he flips out sometimes.
He got to slow down, though, because he just realized every chick except Young Miami and the Gina girl, even though she was about to flip, but she decided not to.
Right. I don't think, listen, bro, I don't think Diddy the type of dude that can be tied down like that. He needs to move around.
Yeah, but it's that caused him to be here, Wack. It's that caused him to be here. You heard what 50 Cent baby mama said. She said, if I'm doing the freak offs with you, well, why is Young Miami always posting pictures with you and on the jet and in Turks and on the yacht? It was jealousy. They were looking at it to say, I'm doing the shit, but I'm not getting the benefits. It's jealousy. These girls were jealous of another woman. They were jealous of other people's position.
He respected Young Miami in a different way.
Yeah, but they were upset about it though. They were upset about it. Daphne Joy, 50 baby mom, testified to it. If you promised you gonna bring me the Turks and you went there with her.
Everybody ain't for everything. Yo, I'm gonna be real. I came front, bro. When I separated, I was going to the Diddy life as far as I'm just gonna move around how I move around with who I want to move around with.
How many free calls did you do?
No, I didn't do none. What I'm saying is, I was never gonna settle down again. because I had been in the box for 30 years. You get what I'm saying?
True. Okay,
you know, I was living a married life as a child, 14 to 44. I wasn't like, when I was 14, I wasn't at the house, bro. I was in the streets, had my own spot, paying, I remember, $9.50 for rent and fucking with Necker, tennis courts in the condo. I was buying school clothes for my woman, and you get what I'm saying? So I went from 14 to 44, so I wasn't going to ever settle down once I broke loose, but I found a fucking full deck of cards.
Yeah.
That's why I was telling you, we got to do what we got to do for you. That business still greenlit because I was supposed to talk to old boy this week, but I couldn't. I don't want to go in there. I want to make sure. I don't know what the fuck was going on with you, bro. You disappeared.
Yeah, we got to do the reality show. I got to find me a nice
I need
woman.
to come see you, bro. Me and R&B gonna come see you.
I'm out here. Come on.
I'm gonna come see you. I think I gotta do the Danza show again. So what I'm gonna do is probably drop in on you and then shoot down there and do that.
Hey, let me tell you this. The only reason why I say he got to calm down, and trust me, I'm a person, I don't know if I fully calm down. So when I'm saying this, I might be hypocritical with it. But what I'm saying is that when I looked at his roster and I looked at his deck of cards, there's only a few women who stayed solid with him. The rest of them folded, or the rest of them said,
they folded.
or the rest of them looked at him and said, yeah, I got love for this nigga, but he done. Let me get my money and bounce. KK stood down for him. She was not going to take the stand. They called her his co-conspirator. We ain't seen her yet. You get me? I know he's not doing nothing sexual with his bodyguards, but his bodyguards, not one of them took the stand. They know his innermost secrets. They've seen him do everything. Not one of them took the stand. All of them fly-by-night girls that he was dealing with, fucking this here, fucking this here. He would give her a bag here, give her a bag here. When them bitches realized that he might be going down, they all filed lawsuits themselves, or they took the stand against him. They turned on him. I don't know if you read the whole thing. I sat through this whole case, man. It's a little bit disgusting. When it come to 50 Cent baby mama, when she heard that Cassie got 20 million, she started negotiating with Puff that she could get her exit plan. She said, give me $400,000 a year for the next 3 years and I'll leave you alone. I'll leave you alone. Because she told him, when I read the lawsuit by Cassie, I felt I was reading my own trauma. And Puff said, trauma?
Nah, but nah, he lying because she ain't went through what Cassie went through.
No, of course she a hoe. Of course she lying. But that's the thing. Everybody folded on him, and that's what you realize. Like, Diddy was out here up $1 billion, and he was taking the chances with people who would snake him for $500,000. And that is the thing.
Yeah, you're right.
So when I say slow down, I'm like, listen, even if say he got 4 or 5 girls, just make sure it's 4 or 5 trusted girls. You can't be like, some of these people, they will snake you.
No, hey, bro, that's all day long. This is why I'm blessed, bro, because I don't even got to think about no bullshit.
Yeah, that's good.
Act. If you R&B tells you that nigga was cheating on me, run content on me for a month. As the dumbest donkey. When I tell you, bro, listen, I told her, when I tell you is nothing that I desire that she ain't providing, that's just real. And they out there, bro. But you just gotta be right. You know what I'm saying?
But here's the thing too, though. You see, Diddy's now 55. And I also said one of the fatal mistakes he made is that he was running around here competing with his sons. Look, you gotta.
He was fucking his son's bitches.
Yeah, you gotta read
the
room.
Bro, the Harvey chick, that was his son's bitch.
Yeah.
He started fucking the bitch.
Now he a demon.
Lloyd Harvey.
Now he's definitely a demon for that. But again, I think on a man level, I think we realize that, you know, I think Diddy looked at it to say, I got the bank account. Of course, I'm supposed to be fucking 20 girls a month, you know? And then you get to realize what happens in the trail of your path is that a lot of these women get hurt. They now start moving with vitriol. They come back and they said, well, I only did A, B, and C because you promised me D, E, and F, or I needed you for my rent, I needed you for my car note. Then what they were trying to get put into law is that the law would have been, oh, because she depended on you for rent and you had a power control over her, you were sex trafficking her. But the law clearly said, no, that's not true. That's not true.
Yeah, that's cat.
That's not true.
That's cat. Yo, listen, we're gutting a club down in Hollywood, Florida.
What club?
Club called Babylon. It's 3 stories. We gutting it. It's in Hollywood. Hollywood, Florida is crazy act. They got like 15 high rises being built all at the same time. Fastest growing area in Florida right now.
Really?
Right? But check it out. We're putting together because there's 3 stories of it. And I want to do different nights. My man Steve Marcano, he's running point on it, and then I'm working with him, me and R&B. But listen, we going to create this shit, right, called, we want to do the Streaming Academy at the spot because we want to create a vibe for the youngsters as well, a day for them.
Yeah.
So, nigga going to need you to come down. Let's set up, partner with it. Everything I do, I want you to partner with us on it so we all eat. You get what I'm saying? So
right,
I'm gonna go meet with Lemmy this week, get that going, and then if I can get, cause Cautious is #1 on the reggae charts, bro.
Oh yeah, no.
He dropped his album Friday, bro. I need to get him up top, bro.
Nah, he's definitely lit. I'm supposed to, and I guess I'm giving a little. I'm giving away something I was gonna keep a surprise. I'm supposed to interview legend Bounty Killer in the next couple days.
Okay, well, when can I get Conscious in there, bro?
Well, when is he in New York?
It don't matter. He gonna come on your time because it's obvious he was in New York the day I called you.
Monday or Tuesday, we could do it. And the reason why I'm saying that is after the holiday, and I'm gonna still be in town, and there's no trial. I'm very flexible. Pause.
So let's do it. Let's do it Tuesday.
I send me the time.
What time? You tell me what time.
All right, let's do 3 o'clock on Tuesday.
All right, cool. Let me set it up. I'll talk to you later.
I bet. All right, people. All right, I'm about to have to run in a second. I got to go meet with Lauren and Unc. Very historic day. Let's see if we can figure out what the hell happened with bail. Is there an update? Maybe. Here we do. Update. Deshaun Combs' lawyer got a 6-page letter. They're asking for release today on bail. It's just been docketed. The attorney's letter has not been docketed yet. It has not been docketed yet. Mr. Combs moves for appropriate conditions pursuant to 18 U.S.C. 3143A. 1, pending a sentencing proceeding, given the jury's clear verdict acquittal of Mr. Combs of the RICO conspiracy and sex trafficking counts, continued detention of Mr. Combs is inappropriate. As these proceedings have demonstrated, as we told the court from the outset, Mr. Combs came to New York to surrender in order to defend himself against the government charges because he was committed to showing his innocence. Since his arrest and detention on September 17, 2024, he's obeyed the court. He's respected these proceedings and demonstrated and been a demonstrated model of behavior at the MDC. And today, the jury unambiguously rejected the government's allegations that Mr. Combs ran a year-long criminal enterprise or engaged in sex trafficking, the core of the government's case. He stands convicted of 2 Mann Acts, and his sentence and exposure is substantially lower than when the government initially sought detention. The court should release Mr. Combs on the proposed condition. Did he do it Diddy did it. Let's go here. Maybe we could get that whole thing. Let's go here. Did he do it? Did he did it? Here we go. Here's the proposed conditions, my people. This is the proposed conditions. It says, as for flight risk, it says insufficient to rely only on the evidence of the commission of a serious crime and the fact of a potential long sentence to support a finding of risk of flight. But let's go. It says he poses no risk or flight or danger. His actions prior to 2024 further demonstrated he's neither flight risk nor is a danger to the community. First, shortly after the searches on April 1st, 2024, the council took possession of his passport. On the same day, they advised the prosecutors that he would surrender his passport. Defense counsel would not return it to him, and he would not leave the country. The passport remains in the defense counsel in their possession, and the council advised that the government, if Combs intended to travel domestically, they would inform the AUSA. All subsequent travel was going to be done with the government's knowledge. Third, he'll be voluntarily relocated to New York on September 5th, 2024. Once he arrived in New York, defense counsel immediately informed the government of his whereabouts. Fourth, he paid off the mortgage at his residence at Two Star Island in Miami. This payment was about $18 million, and it was for only one reason alone, so that he would have $48 million residence free and clear of any encumbrances that it could be used to secure a bond. All this shows is Combs is not a flight risk. To the contrary, he has taken extraordinary measures demonstrating what he always wanted was to cooperate with the legal process so he could establish his innocence in court. That is precisely what he's done to the most serious charges against him. Moreover, as for other factors, the court must consider such familial and community ties. The court need only consider Mr. Combs and his family conduct over the last 10 months to assure that there is simply no risk that he will seek to flee or recidivate. Throughout these proceedings, his family has been seated by his side, demonstrating the same respect for these proceedings and support for Combs that they will be paying going forward. They were here to support him, and he's obviously committed to reuniting with his family to continue to support them, not to flee and put them at further risk. A few examples of what Mr. Combs has missed since his incarceration. He's missed the biggest moments in his daughter's life. He's missed the twins' high school graduation. They did not have any parent there with them because their mother, Kim Porter, tragically passed away in 2018. He missed his twins' prom. He has a minor daughter of 2.5 years who's been without him for 9 months. He needs and wants to remain with his family. At today's hearing, the government suggested that Mr. Combs could be a danger in a sense that he had the means and ability to commit prostitution crimes. With all due respect, the suggestion is unsupported. The government had, for an extended period of time, a pen register on his phone. Mr. Combs never called any potential escorts or prostitutes, nor did he make any effort to arrange meetings with escorts and prostitutes, nor was he with Jane Doe in New York. In any event, reasonable conditions would ensure that Mr. Combs would not have the ability to arrange such meetings with escorts. The cases overwhelmingly support the circumstances. Here's a bunch. Here's the proposed release conditions. Judge, let my man the diddler out on $1 million bond. $1 million cash. You can count it by hand, Judge. It's going to be co-signed by Diddy, his mother, his sister, and the mother of his oldest daughter. Mr. Combs' travel will be restricted to the Southern District of Florida, the Central District of California, and the Southern District of New York to attend court to meet with counsel, as well as the Eastern District of New York and New Jersey, only to the extent that his travel to and from New York might involve an airport in those districts. Mr. Combs' passport has been surrendered and will be surrendered to pretrial services. Drug testing can be ordered by pretrial services. All other standard and pretrial supervision conditions are involved. For the foregoing reasons, the court should release him on those conditions. Here is all his lawyers. Alexander Shapiro, this is her real motion. Mark Ignifilo, Anna Estevio, Brian Big Boy Steele, Xavier Donaldson, Nicole Westmoreland. Yes. Actually, Driscoll's down on this. We will see, chat. We will see. We will see. We're still waiting. We're still waiting. We are still waiting. Will he get released? Will he not? We'll know in a few.
Like Mr. Hayes. You couldn't do it. Nope, you couldn't be in that. Nope, you had to be a lawyer. I completely understand. Okay. Let me go. Let me go to you, Tyler, on this. Make it make sense. Make it make sense. Super chat question. Is it curious how a deadlocked jury yesterday could come to a unanimous decision with only the hour the next day? I mean, that is interesting, right? They were deadlocked at the end of the day. They basically said they couldn't, they're unpersuadable, right? Unpersuadable views on both sides. They come back in an hour and find him not guilty of racketeering. Can you explain that?
It's amazing what a good night's sleep could do. They clearly not reached that verdict yesterday. They went home. They were told not to discuss this matter, but they slept on it, and they probably were fresh-eyed and ready to go that morning. And I'm pretty sure the foreman said, okay, y'all, we slept on it. Where are we at? And they quickly got to a verdict today. And that's exactly what I think happened.
We have Sierra Gillespie with us, too, out in the field. Sierra, good to see you. First, let us know how crazy it is out there in terms of have you seen more baby oil being sprayed. That's part one. Part two, we have a super chat question from Free. Free, thank you so much. I just don't understand why sex trafficking of Cassie even needed to be proven when we had video evidence of her being beaten and dragged back into the room. That seems like a flaw in our system. So first, what's the scene like? And really the basis of this question is, wasn't sex trafficking of Cassie proven by the 2016 tape?
Wow, these are both really good questions. I'll start with the former first. Is there baby oil present? Confirmed. Yes, there is. Across the street from me at the courthouse, there was in fact baby oil being sprayed over there. And let me tell you, there are literally hundreds of people here. So much so that the NYPD has come and barricaded me into this area I'm in right now across the street with my camera. I got my lights and I'm stuck here basically. Then across the street at the courthouse, Elizabeth Milner is seemingly stuck inside because they have barricaded everyone kind of over there because honestly, it was getting dangerous. A lot of people were getting rowdy. People were spilling over into the street. And this is still a road where people are driving. So it's dangerous for people to be standing in the street, right? So, I mean, it is pretty intense here. There's been cheering. There's kind of been a sense that maybe, just maybe, something wild could happen in this bail hearing. And P. Diddy himself could stroll out of this courthouse behind me at any moment. We'll see what's going to happen there. So TBD, and of course, we're going to give you updates on that, number one. Number two, talking about the Intercontinental video, the really harrowing video that many of us have seen back when it was leaked in May of 2024. And now, of course, jurors saw it time and again. This is a question mark. How was Diddy found not guilty in terms of sex trafficking with Cassandra Ventura when we have that video? To which I say, I don't know exactly what the jurors were thinking. I don't know what's on their mind, and we're working to hear from some jurors. I hope to one day have them on my show Scandal, or perhaps Jesse on Sidebar with you, so we can really have a sense of what they were talking about in the deliberation room. But as far as the Intercontinental video, yes, it does show domestic violence. We've heard that from Diddy's team. We heard it from Teddy Yargos in the openings. We heard it from Diddy himself when he came forward with that video, in which he kind of held up his phone. He had a lot of headroom and he apologized for it. So he straight up admitted it. Yes, it was domestic violence. However, domestic violence and sex trafficking are two completely different things. The government said that this showed retaliation. Cassie was leading a freak off, and then that's what happened, that he physically assaulted her because she wanted to leave. And I guess the...
Three Diglets, my boy. Thank you for the big hundo. Man, respect that man, $100, man. Big hundo from Three Diglets. He said, man, thank you so much for covering this trial act. It was entertaining. It was. And I'm going to be honest with you. I'm a little surprised by it. Again, I was being very logical. I'm giving a little bit more opinion because the case is over now. But being very logical, I looked at this a million different ways. And obviously it turned out, listen, the most thing I'm proud about this case is that the way we covered it and the assumptions and the reasonable assumptions we came to matched with what came out. So we weren't some lunatics who were like, no, Diddy's just going to go free. He's going to beat out all the charts. Nah, that was not us. That was not us. We were measured in trying to figure out what it was. We were saying, could count 2 go? This Cassie stuff, how much is it sex trafficking or just toxic relationship? And I'm very proud that I feel like we were on the money, and I'm very happy about that. 3 Diglets, I thank you for appreciating my work, and I appreciate you for your viewership, and I appreciate everyone in here.
The jurors just didn't believe that argument, and that's why they found Diddy not guilty on that particular charge.
So we have more. Thank you so much for that, Sierra. We want to go back to Sheree. I have a couple of questions here for you. So first of all, Tracy Roberts, super chat question. This is just a supporter. Thank you so much. That's so kind. Cleveland Thomas asked a super chat question. I think it's really interesting. From the testimony, Cassie sometimes paid the escorts. Could she have gotten convicted on the Mann Act as well? And I'll answer that. But this is an interesting part. Are the escorts the ultimate victims? Now, from a legal point of view, this was about Jane and Cassie being the alleged victims. The escorts not necessarily for the purposes of these charges. Having said that, through the course of this, when you think about what was alleged, when you think about what was put forward in this case by the prosecution, do you feel, Sheree, do you feel that you are a victim in any of this?
The only part of it I would make me feel victimized, and if this was confirmed, is if my participation did come under a space where Ms. Ventura was under duress, where I just unknowingly did not know that she was being forced in some way, and really giving me a really transparent, acting job of, hey, I'm fine with all of this, but deep down inside, it was a scenario where she was being abused and in pure true distress with my interaction. If I unknowingly was put in that scenario to take advantage of a woman unknowingly, and that is outwardly confirmed in my specific participation, then I would feel like a victim.
I understand. I'm curious if the other people that were part of these sexual events would feel the same. Ben, go to you. You think Sean Combs is going to be released? Do you think today the judge is going to say, hey, listen, the game's changed. Whatever factors were working for the prosecution months ago, the game's changed. He should be released. What do you think?
I have an instinct that he won't be. I don't think so.
Tyler?
I think he should be released. I think that, bonds are all about what could reasonably ensure that the defendant's not going to flee. And here, the max penalty is 10 years per charge. More than likely, the judge is not going to impose a max, and they're not going to run consecutively. So I think a reasonable bond of $1 million would ensure that he's going to come back and do his sentence. And the fact of the matter is the government has brought a heavy case against Mr. Combs. Most of those charges have been dismissed now because he's been found not guilty. The remaining 2, the question that should be asked is, would he have received a bond if these were the only 2 charges he was accused of at the time he was indicted? And I think the answer is yes, he would have. It would probably been high, and Mr. Combs could put up a high bond in this case.
Ben, Papa Sear asks, thank you so much for the super chat question, Papa Sear. Do you think the $20 million alleged settlement with him, still paying $10,000 a month in rent for another victim, do you think that swayed the jury? We are in a recession. So basically, right, the settlement that Cassie had with Sean Combs, the idea that Jane was still getting her rent being paid for, I think her lawyer was still being paid by Sean Combs. Do you think that affected the jury's decision?
It's a great question, and I think it could have. I think any number of factors, could have entered into the decision. So it's a good question, and I think absolutely it could have affected some of the jurors.
This is wow. Okay, this is from Sean Love Combs. Okay, this is the account Sean Love Combs. Tyler, super chat question. Thank you, Mr. Combs. Is it possible that if Diddy is released, he will be able to leave America, or would he be able to retrieve his items, the baby oil, the Astroglide? So multiple questions there.
Studio, and then you will see me shortly. All right, chat. I love you. See you soon.
TSA would not allow him.
This is over your consideration of leniency. Mr. Combs has had countless of opportunities to change, and he come back into the community would not up. Time, man, shut your bitch ass up. They're still waiting on the government. The government ain't docking none yet. Okay, the judges are going to reconvene at 5. All right, so it's going to be 5. All right.
Time. We are going to continue our coverage
Meantime, the Knicks did canvass the league, see what coaches would be available. I didn't think there was anything wrong with the process. They tried to talk to Udoka. The Rockets, as you'd expect, did not release him. Billy Donovan, not sure why they want to go that route. Hey, maybe bring Billy, the hometown kid here. Didn't go that way. Both of those guys got their extensions. They went to the college level, right? They went to Dawn Staley. First broken here by Knicks Fan TV. Just a conversation. But I think overall, the conversations were had to understand what are these coaches seeing? What's trending in your world? How are you approaching things? It's never a bad thing to turn over every stone, even if you have your guys that you have your sights on. It's Jason Kidd. But I believe that they went with a Mike Brown. Number one, the experience factor. This is a pressure cooker situation. The team went 2 games short of the Eastern Conference Finals. And for next year, for this Knicks head coach, it is finals or bust. We know that. This team is going to be under the microscope from summer league on down. Training camp, preseason. Who's doing what? Who's fitting in? Who's gelling? It's going to be, the reactions are going to be through the roof with this team next year amidst a heavy pressure cooker environment. So they needed a coach that can handle that. And that is why a guy like, a younger guy, I know a lot of you guys are like, what happened to Johnny Bryant? And I did report here that he had fans in the organization. Even Dolan liked him. But you needed a coach with experience here that could really handle this situation. And a lot of people brought this up, and it's a great point. Handling the media is a big part of the job. That's also where experience comes into play, because this head coach, they're going to be dissected. Every decision that they make is going to be questioned. Now, Mike Brown has come under fire, especially most recently in Sacramento, with the way that he's handled the media and kind of scoffed at things and thrown players under the bus. So going to be interesting to see in New York, how does he handle that? Because things got a little bit quirky there in Sacramento. But nevertheless, I think for the experience factor, that's why they went with the decision. That's why they went with Mike Brown and made that decision. What happened to Taylor Jenkins? From what I heard, things kind of tapered off. Brown made his impressions, and he got the job. He gained the edge over Taylor Jenkins. You guys had asked, and Brown was a guy we mentioned as soon as they fired Tibbs. We mentioned Brown as a potential candidate. Mike Malone. Some of you guys, what happened to Mike Malone? Look, I told you guys even when Tibbs was under contract, when Tibbs was still coaching, the Knicks are not going to be looking in the direction of Mike Malone. I believe there's some bad blood there. They also viewed him as a Tibbs clone. And so, from what I was told, there was no chance he was coming in here even for an interview, and it played out that way. Mark Jackson, look, Jackson Hive, it's time to stand down. I don't think, I like Mark. I don't think there's any chance he becomes a head coach in the NBA ever again. I don't know, whatever reason, is he blackballed? You guys be the judge of that. I don't have all the intel on why Mark Jackson's not selected. But he's always the name that comes up. So, here we have it, man. Mike Brown. As I said, 2-time Coach of the Year. 2-time Coach of the Year. Okay, TM, I see that. We'll get the Discord graphic up, no problem. 2-time Coach of the Year. If we go through some of his stops, went 240 and 98 with the Cleveland Cavaliers. Thank you, LeBron James. He's got a 454 and 304 regular season record, which is about 600. And a 50 and 40 playoff record. 56% mostly. He went 41 and 29 with the Lakers. 85 and 45 with the Dubs under Steve Kerr. And then 88 and 132 with the Sacramento Kings. So, what happened in Sacramento? That is what we're going to be asking. And I'm going to have James Ham. He's a beat writer for the Sacramento Kings. He's coming on. We've been exchanging messages. We want to do our deep dives now on Mike Brown and what's going on with him, his system, his philosophy, the good, bad, and ugly, pros and cons. So he's going to be joining us tomorrow night. So make sure you join us tomorrow night when we get the perspective from the Sacramento side. But what happened there? His first year, They've got the number one offense in the NBA, a 118.6 offensive rating in the 22-23 year. That's when he won the Coach of the Year. And then from there, things just kind of spiraled. Second year, not so great. And then the third year, they go 13-23, and he's shown the door after a 5-game skid. Now, is that a Sacramento thing? Because as we know, with Monty McNair in Sacramento, I'm not sure if there's any other owner who comes under fire more than, James Dolan always comes under fire, but Monty McNair does as well for his decision-making. So was that a knee-jerk reaction from Monty McNair? Again, I'm going to ask James Ham, and for some of you Sacramento Kings fans that might be tapping in here, I'd love to hear from you on that. What really happened there in Sacktown? We need answers on that. Okay? But, another thing about Mike Brown that the reason I think that he's gotten the job is you still need that guy with experience. The guy, yes, he can be known as a player's coach. Now, don't ask Keon Ellis this. He is well-liked around the league, but a guy that's going to push. A guy that's going to try to get the best out of his players and hold guys accountable. You still need that. So in that way, you didn't really depart too far from Tibbs. But I did stress this on the show, and we did put this.
This Keon Ellis guy hit 9 threes last night, and he was just on our bench this entire time. Why did nobody tell me? Nobody told. Is he being serious right now? Mike, you started him in the play-in tournament last year. This Keon Ellis guy hit 9 threes last night, and he was just on our bench this entire time. Why did nobody tell me? Nobody told. Is he being serious right now? Mike, you started him in the play-in tournament last year.
Navant is a business travel booking platform that
A group of gang members from Texas are very upset at 4Extra for how he treated 607 Unc during their interview. Now, they're so upset that they apparently want to smoke with 4Extra, and one of them issued a travel ban on 4Extra, claiming that he can't come to Texas. They claim their anger for what 4Extra did to 607 Unc isn't just because Unc has heavy ties to Texas, but they believe that 4Extra was bullying 607 Unc.
4Extra. He goddamn pulled up on 607, huh?
4Extra was picking and choosing, bro.
Yeah, it looked like some bully.
It was some bully.
I felt like, because that was his partner that was sitting up there with him, too.
Bro, you towering over the man.
Do that shit to a killer.
Hey, I ain't saying, I don't know what Unc did, gonna do it. I don't know.
Man, look.
What I know is, at the end of the day, it's nothing, only a coward feels empowered by towering over a person who's physically weak.
Do that to Aaron the plumber.
Like, that was coward shit to me. You know what I'm saying? Like, did that in front of me in the room, I'd have stood up for Unc just on the wing.
Stop playing.
It's bully.
Stop playing.
I don't like bully.
Stop playing. They can say what they want to say about this bullshit. Stop playing. If a nigga been in that house with Unc